I'm Amy Bird, President of SM Wilson & Company. Over the next 15 minutes, we're going to go over some important safety practices that will help ensure every member of our team goes home safely. Our goal and our commitment to you, your family, and the owner will be 0 injuries on this project. Now I'm going to turn it over to Richard. Thanks for working with us and enjoy working on the project.
Thanks, Amy. First, we need to talk about some basics. We hope you've heard before, but a refresher never hurts. Here at SM Wilson, we have a few best management practices that everyone should follow every day while on the job site. Let's start with personal protective equipment. Hard hats, safety glasses, and work boots need to be worn at all times. They not only protect you from falling objects and the like, but also come in handy if you bump your head. Also, high visibility clothing needs to be worn on the site. This can be a shirt with sleeves or a high visibility safety vest. Work gloves are recommended when working with sharp objects or performing selective tasks where hand lacerations could occur. Don't forget, 100% fall protection is required when you are working at an elevation of 6 feet or more on a walking or working surface. And never, and we do mean never, enter a confined space or trench unless it's been properly tested or a protective system is in place. We'll go into more detail about some of these later on. In addition, make sure you use proper equipment and lifting techniques. If you need a buddy, grab one to help you lift heavy, awkward objects. Sprains and strains can be easily prevented by following these simple techniques. Remember, 0 energy means 0 injuries. Always de-energize or disconnect the power source before working on electrical equipment. Why take chances when there's a safer way to perform the work? Always report injuries, near misses, and safety hazards immediately. This helps us identify and track issues or trends and develop corrective actions to eliminate future incidents. Okay, let's talk specifics. These rules apply to every SM Wilson job site. All employees working on our projects must comply with all applicable OSHA regulations, as well as state and local codes. Employees should also be knowledgeable and trained on the Hazard Communication Standard Right to Know law. The Hazard Communication Standard, or HCS, is now aligned with the globally harmonized system of classification and the labeling of chemicals, also known as the GHS. Additional job site training, such as daily job safety analysis and weekly toolbox talks, are required and turned into the project superintendent by all contractors. This benefits you and the project, as well as helps to build a 0 incident culture. Housekeeping is vital to maintaining a safe workplace. Pick up daily trash and any tripping hazards, such as electrical cords or welding hoses that are not being used. It sounds like such a small issue, but falls are the second leading cause of deaths, second only to motor vehicle crashes. Please check with your project superintendent because this project may be a smoke-free campus. If not, smoking is only allowed in designated areas. And we shouldn't have to say this, but the use and possession of alcohol, drugs, and firearms is prohibited on our job sites. Also, don't forget, any hot work activity, employees must have a fire extinguisher within 10 feet. Falls, electrocution, struck-bys, and caught-in-betweens are responsible for more than 50% of all deaths in the construction industry. Of those 4, falls are the leading cause of fatalities in construction. Most falls are caused by slippery surfaces, trips, or loss of balance, and surprisingly, a majority happen at 10 feet or less off the ground. Why are we killing ourselves? I'll give you 3 reasons. 1, equipment is not available. 2, poor decision making. And 3, lack of training on how to wear fall protection equipment. We can make a difference if we change this behavior. As you can see, it's our duty to have fall protection guidelines in place. SM Wilson requires everyone to have fall protection at elevations of 6 feet and above. We have a preferred hierarchy when it comes to fall protection systems. First and foremost, we should eliminate fall hazards whenever possible. The next best way to prevent falls is to prevent employees from falling to a lower level. And the most common system used to do this is a guardrail system. The guardrail systems must meet these requirements. The system must be able to withstand 200 pounds of downward and outward force. The top rail must be at a height between 45 inches to 39 inches with a mid-rail midway between the working surface and top rail per OSHA standard. And if there's a potential overhead hazard to people below, tow boards must be installed. As a last resort where it's not reasonably possible to protect workers from falls by guardrails, they must be protected by a personal fall arrest system. The systems must include a secure anchor point, body harness, and connector, for example, a lanyard that is equipped with a shock absorber where appropriate. Oh, and don't forget, warning lines may take the place of guardrails or personal fall arrest systems on roofs. However, there are two key distances to remember. They should be placed 6 feet back for roofing contractors and 15 feet back for all other non-roofing trades. Finally, all holes larger than 2 inches in diameter require a cover, if not otherwise protected. The cover must be able to support 2 times the maximum load and be secured to prevent displacement. Also, it must be adequately labeled with the word hole. Let's talk ladders. I know what you're thinking. I already know how to climb a ladder. I get it. But what if I told you ladders are one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment used and that over 20% of all occupational deaths resulted from ladders? Not only that, over the last 10 years, ladder-related injuries have increased by more than 50%. So it sounds like we could all use a little refresher course. So here goes. The first thing to remember is to inspect the ladder before use. Check for broken or missing rungs, cracks, etc. And use the ladder for its intended purpose. In other words, don't try using a step ladder without opening it up first. Never use a step ladder as a straight ladder. Open and lock the spreaders and place on solid ground. When climbing the ladder, keep your belt buckle in between the rails to make sure the ladder stays evenly balanced. And when you're approaching the end, never use the top rung of the ladder. It's actually safest to not climb above the top 2 rungs. Take a second and read the warning label. Make sure to maintain 3 points of contact at all times when ascending or descending the ladder. 1 hand in 2 feet or 2 hands in 1 foot. Hoist materials to the work area. When installed correctly, extension ladders shall be at the correct angle, a 4-to-1 ratio. Which means that for every 4 feet the ladder goes vertical, it comes out 1 foot from the structure it's leaning on. So that means for an 8-foot ladder, the base should be out from the wall 2 feet. And don't forget, the ladder must extend 3 feet above the landing platform. Aerial lifts or articulating boom lifts are a little different than ladders. The biggest difference is the fact that they move. Just kidding. Seriously, we require that anyone operating a lift be trained in doing so. Also, fall protection needs to be worn at all times. And you should inspect your equipment before you use it. All scaffolding must be installed and dismantled with a competent person. In other words, someone who's capable of identifying hazards or deficiencies and correcting them immediately. Make sure base plates and mud sills are installed and that the platforms are fully planked. Don't climb on the bracing to get up or down the scaffold, and make sure you have fall protection or a full guardrail system at elevations 6 feet or above. I don't have to tell you that working with electricity directly or indirectly can be dangerous, but there are preventative measures we can take to help eliminate risk. The first has to do with extension cords. Like this guy here. Everyday use can cause wear and tear and even result in exposing the wires inside. Take a good look at the cords before using them. Look for any nicks, cuts, or gouges. Also, check around the plug itself. A lot of times they'll wear right at the point where the plug joins the cord. Don't modify cords or use them incorrectly. And always use GFCIs on all 120 volt single phase 15 and 20 amp receptacles in temporary circuits. Once you're confident all the cords are all good to go, check your power tool cords for the same kind of issues. Metallic parts of electric tools and machines can become hot if there is a break in the insulation of their wiring. Don't use a tool that's cord is damaged, has been modified, or even has a prong missing. To ensure your safety, always use portable GFCIs. And let's not forget about generators, since they're one of the most commonly used tools on sites today. Store them properly and make sure it's equipped with an internal GFCI and turn them off and let them cool before refueling. Lastly, always be aware of overhead power lines and buried utilities. Coming in contact with power lines could most likely result in death. You should contact the utility company to de-energize or cover the lines when you are working near them. Also, maintain a 20-foot clearance from the booms of cranes and be aware of other tools that have potential to come in contact with these lines. It just takes some forward thinking to prevent struck-by accidents. Always make sure to secure materials before moving to prevent them from dropping and striking someone. Using tool tethers can prevent them from dropping to lower levels. It's also important to make sure limited access zones are established and strictly enforced. This includes using cones, barrels, or danger tape when overhead work is being performed. This will restrict access to the work area other than those employees doing the work. Also, setting up proper swing radius protection around cranes, track hose, and other heavy equipment will ensure the safety of everyone on site. We know that when we're talking about caught in-betweens, you may call them crushing accidents, there are many ways in which they can happen, including equipment rollovers, rigging accidents, and unguarded moving parts and machinery. All of these are very serious. But we want to focus on the top cause of fatalities when it comes to caught in-between accidents: trenching and excavation. Anyone working in a trench is more than twice as likely to be killed as workers in any other type of construction work. Excavations and trenches are unstable by nature, and lots of things can go wrong. Cave-ins are the most feared hazard. They have the potential to suffocate and crush anyone caught in one. Other hazards include oxygen deficiency or toxic gases and vapors down in the trench leading to suffocation. Flammable gases and vapors can lead to fires or even explosions. Keep running equipment a safe distance away to prevent exhaust buildup in the trench. If water, sewage, or other chemicals haven't been properly controlled, workers could drown. OSHA requires a ladder, stairway, or properly designed ramp to be installed in any trench 4 feet or deeper. It's best to have one at each end of the trench if possible. For all excavations and trenches deeper than 5 feet but less than 20 feet deep, you must use one of these 3 methods. 1, sloping. 2, benching. 3, a protective system like a trench box. Take the proper precautions to ensure the site itself is safe and you are working as safely as you possibly can. Wear all your required personal protection equipment and make sure all OSHA requirements are in place. One mistake, you may not get a second chance. Bottom line, if SM Wilson is going to manage a zero-incident job site, it will be because we all agree to become a part of something important. We all agree to have each other's backs in this and make sure that each and every one of us goes home at night to our families and loved ones. Thanks for watching. Welcome to SM Wilson. See you tomorrow.